forget the main reason we came here, which is the parenting, now raising the children as well. I love what Lola said earlier. She said about putting one mouth to raise children. Very, very important. Even if what the one of the spouses is doing is not right, at that point in time when you're raising these children, remember that you cannot afford to be using two mouths. Baba so A, ìyá so B. You know, I'm only ever gbọ́ràn. Then we talked about gentle parenting and versus harsh parenting. When we look and say that one of the major problem that we, this generation of parents, have is that we'll be referring to when we were young. Ìgbà tí mo wà kékeré, mi ò jẹ́ try pẹ̀lú daddy mi, wọ́n ti fẹ́ lù mí pa. Ayé ìgbà tí yín nìyẹn o. If we are going to raise children of nowadays the way our parents raised us, hey, Olúwa, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ á dáràn. Tony Storch says that when they left for university, that's when the reality, oh yes, that's when the reality of life started settling in, because they only call you, yes, they only call you on random, or sometimes you have to remind them of you. Exactly. Táwọn ẹ bá ti gbọ́n báyìí tán ti kúrò nílé. In fact, ẹ bá pè wọ́n jù gan, oh, mom, I thought we still spoke yesterday. I thought we still spoke. Ìwọ àtọkọ ìyá àti ìyàwó ìdọ̀lẹ́ máa jọjọ wà nínú ilé. So no matter how much attention we give to children, please do not just forget that it will get to a point. Àwọn ẹ̀ máa find way wọn. Wọ́n máa bá life títí wọn lọ. Wọ́n máa rìnrìn àjò. In fact, láyé ìsìn, most of our women, they want to live abroad, just like us. You know, when we were growing up, when I was still little, we used to have families living in the same compound or the same premises, or living in the same vicinity, or at least ládùúgbò. But nowadays, majority of us are abroad. Imagine if our parents did not have good rapport or good relationship, and now all of us are abroad. How would they be able to survive? We need each other when these children are all grown. So don't let us be distracted and say, because I'm mommy, ẹlòmíì ò ní ráyè take care rẹ̀, ẹlòmíì ò ní ráyè take care ọkọ, ẹlòmíì ò ní ráyè take care ìyàwó. Àwọn míì máa wà rigid, very rigid. They won't have good relationship with each other. So the things that we can do to ensure that while we are raising children, we also remember to raise ourselves. While we are nurturing our children, let us remember to nurture ourselves as couples. While we are busy saying, oh, mommy, oh, mommy, oh, mommy, oh, mommy, don't let us forget that we need to say, oh, come, yawomi. Let's look after ourselves. Let's have time for ourselves. Let's have a mommy and daddy time. Let's have time to go out together. Let's have time to talk, you know, when the children are asleep, when they are in bed, you know, even if you don't have the time to go to places, maybe like cinemas or holidays together. If you can, that would be nice. But if you can't afford it, or maybe you don't have the chance to, you can be holiday within your home. You can, you know, find time, a special time with mommy and daddy. I mean, special time when the children will be on their own, and you have time for your spouse. I'm telling you, if you don't do this, mo ní àwọn èèyàn tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n pọ̀ gan, tó jẹ́ nígbà tí wọ́n dàgbà, tí wọ́n ti dàgbà gogogogo, ó wá ti di pé dádì wọn lè ṣe, wọn lè jíjọ ṣe, wọn lè jọ sọ̀rọ̀. Àwọn tó fi ń bojú, àwọn ọmọ ti dàgbà, wọn ti lọ. So please, people, let us bear that in mind. God bless you. Lola's Fabric says, yes, so one of mine lives in Dubai. Yes, can you imagine? Already? Wow. Yemi Stitch, thank you for joining us, sis. We appreciate you. Yao Baba said, not in these days and age. When you call them and you hear I'm in China, talk to you later, mom. Can you imagine it happening? It is happening. Ìgbà kan wà ní máa jókòó síbẹ̀ yẹn tó máa jókòó síbẹ̀ tó bá ti yá kò sí kò tá fẹ́ ṣe sí mọ́. Ẹ lè pè mí ní wọn kó ní pé even my own has already started telling me, mom, how would you feel if I decide to live in Korea? Mo ní Korea kọ́. Kini ma try. I was opening eyes. He was just laughing at me. She told the post of me. She told my married to Korea. She money come alone. So we need to bear that in mind. Let's have mommy and daddy time. Let's find time. Emma eka fisher boju. Emma eka for more boju. Let's find time. Then yeah, she said she nearly fit. Okay, now let's talk about this. Okay, fine. The children had left. One of the ways that by which we can actually enjoy them, whether when they are young and when they are old, is about the style of parenting that we choose. Now let's go back to what we were talking about earlier about our style of parenting. Gentle and harsh parenting. What's the difference? People have started talking already. Some people said harsh parenting is when you're always scolding them, when you're too hard on them. Please, I need you to keep coming. The difference between gentle and harsh parenting, the way our style of parenting can affect how these children will relate to us in future or even now. I have some friends that they I feel sorry for them with the way the children are behaving. Those children, they're not bad children, but they are being rebellious because of the style of parenting that the parents choose. Don't let us forget that these children, they cannot be young forever. They cannot be babies forever. At one point, they will become adults. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that everybody should, um, be too lenient, if I want to say that. But please, let's cite examples. What can I do to my child that could make it look like I'm a harsh parent? And what can I do to my child that could make me a gentle parent? Let's talk about the people. Life of Toasting, thank you for joining us. People, please do not keep quiet on me. You can leave me a voice note on +44 782 85009. Got two of my children are almost, both of them are almost adults now. One is already an adult. The other one is just about a year away from being an adult. And even as children, even as babies, what can we do that could cause those children to be able to relate with us, or that we will enjoy them, whether as babies or as adults? Talking about gentle and harsh parenting. One of the most important key points that Lola's Fabric made mention of earlier is the fact that we need to be on one page when it comes to raising children. Both parents, father and mother, we need to be on one page. And when we say being on one page, what do we mean? Daddy is saying sit down, mommy is saying stand up. Daddy is saying stand up, mommy is saying sit down. Daddy is saying go out, mommy is saying you can't go out. And they are both doing it in front of the child. What do you think will happen to that kind of child? What do you think? How do you think that child will become? Everybody's gone quiet now. Please don't be quiet. If you're too busy or you're too lazy to type, leave me a voice note on +44 782 8500938. It's important. I want to hear your opinion. Lola's Fabric says it is important to treat children the way you wish to have been cared for. Be firm, but remember you're raising them to be good citizens. Thank you so much, sis. Let us remember that there's a difference between being firm and being harsh, or being brutal, or being wicked. Some of the things we saw growing up, nowadays looking back, I'm like, what? I even know about a particular young woman. She's no longer young now. She's in her 40s or almost 50. She sued her parents. To even actually think that that woman was raised here in the UK was shocking. Because even as an adult, she couldn't get over the trauma of the way her parents treated her. She had bruises to show. She lived with her parents, mom and dad, and both of them were so harsh that she still has scars and bruises all over her body. And recently, about 2, 3, 4 years ago, I saw it on the news. This woman actually sued her parents. She's a Nigerian and she's a Yoruba. She sued her parents for the way she was treated when she was a child. She felt they were too brutal, they were too harsh. And we don't want that to happen to us. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bear in mind that there's a difference between being firm and being harsh. As Lola Fabric said, please treat them the way you would have loved to be treated. Mommy, Mommy Adele, you have a way of bringing out all my 32. She said, gentle lady ni mi, èmi kì í ṣe fighter o, kẹ́nikẹ́ni má tì mí lọ síbi ìjà. I know that children are different. Children are all different, but ọmọ mi ò gbójú bọ̀rọ̀. But when we're talking about ọmọ ò gbójú bọ̀rọ̀, does that mean pé ká wá lù pọ́npọ́, ká wá lù ṣeléṣe? When I was growing up, I was blessed to have parents that are not extremely. My dad was a disciplinarian. My mom was firm, but she wasn't strict. She was strict and firm, but she wasn't harsh. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But my dad was quite harsh. If you offend my dad, she will wait till the middle of the night and wake you up before she shows you shaggy. It shows you shaggy. All those style of parenting does not work in this generation. But there are better ways that we can do it. Gentle parents, pray, talk to them. Thank you, ma'am. and continue to encourage them. I love it because I was going to talk about, we should mention practical things that we can do that could make us look like we are harsh parents, and then practical things that we can do that could make us know that we are gentle parents. Now, I just saw it. Mommy Oliko, God bless you for always being here for me. She said, gentle parents means pray. Very important. We need to pray for these children. Bíbélì gan sọ, ó ní àyà ọmọdé báyìí, ó ní wèrè dì sí. Lóòótọ́ ló sọ pé gba ló máa yọ, ṣùgbọ́n kò ṣe pé ká wá lù wọ́n pa. You can correct them. A rod is meant for correction. It's not meant for destruction. She says, pray for them. Let's pray for them. Talk to them and continue to encourage them. I love the word continue to encourage them. We need to talk more. I don't know why back in the days, I can't remember my dad sitting me down and talking to me, except when I do something wrong. Bye. Nowadays, we can't, befriend your children. Some people, I've heard people saying that your children are not your friend. They can be your child and still your friend. My daughter is my friend. She's my best friend. I confide in her. She confides in me. There's nothing we don't talk about together. And that does not happen overnight. It depends on the kind of relationship you have built over the years. So talk to them, encourage them, continue to encourage them, train them. There's a difference between training and enforcing things on them. You can train a child without forcing them to do stuff. You have to do it by fire, by force. I am your mother. I am your father. Like somebody said to me that if you always have to remind them of your position in their life, there's something wrong with your style of parenting. You don't have to. They know that you are their mother. Not gbìyànjú gbogbo nǹkan kan ní gbogbo gbàgbà lálá. Some parents can be quite harsh. Let's be fair. Train them, but don't become a bully. Thank you, Mommy Oluko. There are some parents that are bullies. When we were growing up, we had a lot of bully parents. Some parents will arrive from wherever they go to. Àwọn ọmọdé máa tọ̀ sára ní kálukú máa dive. Yeah, that is the day. Kálukú máa dive sábẹ́ chair, sábẹ́ cupboard. Ẹlẹ́ni tó bá gbóhùn mọ́tò dáàdì wọn bá ogun dé o, yeah. Everybody would dive. I had a good relationship with my mom. I could talk to my mom. I could chat. My dad, the same thing, but he was a little bit strict. When a child does something wrong, there's nothing wrong in you correcting them, even with the rod if it matters. But don't be a bully. Do not be a bully. Train them in the way of the Lord. Continue to use the word of God. Amen. Thank you, ma. Thank you, mommy. Mommy, I think she was trying to say that she saw the story. The story that I told earlier about a woman that sued her parents. I think she's witnessing to it, that she saw it. Thank you, ma'am. Mommy Joanna Lucon says you can correct and train them without bullying them. Thank you, ma'am. Iroya, you have not heard from me. She said very correct. Yes. Mommy, I just say on a more serious note, we actually didn't have a choice growing up. But what cannot work? That cannot work in this area. Yeah, in this era, it's not going to work in this era. Trust me. Tobashi, you will lose those children. You will lose them. I have friends that tell me that the moment their children left for uni, they didn't even look back. They wouldn't even call because they're like, freedom at last. You want your children to leave home and be missing them and they want to come back home. You don't want your child to leave home and say that and sometimes when you are too harsh on these children, you can never see the true color of them. That's why it's been from days of university. That's why you have children with double standard. You will see them as good Christian at home, good children at home, especially those of us that are religious. We force them, if you're a Muslim, we force them to wear a hijab. Let them decide. You understand? Train them, but give them the chance to make up their mind. They say, we're going to wear hijab, we're going to kill, we're going to see church every minute. It's good to let them know that it's important to discover who God is by themselves. Help them to know God, but do not impose it on them. Most of the time, cooking be more to down. And when moment about I pray that God will help us. Mommy, I did say yes. We actually didn't have a choice. Oh, yes, ma. It cannot work in this area. Tonic's Touch says, I used to beat them when they were young, but now I always talk to them. Now, as their height is even now, and yet they're trying. They are all big, you can't keep slapping them once in a while. I remember one day my daughter did something wrong. Funny backhand. I hope I'm not going to be arrested for the funny backhand. Boza. She was looking at me like, what? She was so shocked. And I didn't even know whether to call it anger. She was angry. She was shocked. She was surprised. You know why? Because I hardly beat her. So when I did, it shook her like, that's how it should be. Not that oh my God, Mojuke Gbawa, no, about to Gbawa, turn on you, Koko Gbawa, Eti Gbawa, that's it. Sometimes beating them too often will make them, oh my God, shut up. But that day she was shocked, and I could see the disappointment, the shock, and the embarrassment. She was. Ojú ẹ̀ lé omi fẹ́ dà lójú ẹ̀. So later I called her and I said, I could see that you were not expecting that. She said, Mom, I'm sorry. Why would you hit me? You never hit me. I said, that is to tell you the height of what you have done. You know, I will never just hit you. For me to hit you, you must have done something. And she was full of apologies. And she was really shocked. Obviously, she has received a little bit of spark here and there after them. But obviously, that brought me to know that being too harsh on them will make them just get used to it and be like, even the screaming. Limit it. Yeah, yo, he. Nobody say ìyá yẹn kàn máa pariwo ni. Bá ti pariwo òun ló mọ̀. Don't let it get to that point where your children will be like, "Kíni, mommy kàn máa pariwo and that's it." We need to balance it. We should speak to them like mommy has said, and like Tony Stark has said, "Ọmọ ìmọ̀ àdàgbà tó bá dé stage kan, tó bá ti ń di pé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ bọ̀ wọ́n." My boy, one day, as I raised and because in man gba spanking like 3 titi yato somo, you understand? So on one of the occasions, as I was bringing it like this, my boy, can't defend me. Gba mi. Omo eti, ìyá ẹ má gbé e débi o. That day, I borrowed myself some brain. God will help us. Balance Fabric says, pray with them from when they are little. Thank you, ma'am. Speak the word of God into them. Very important. Even when they are older and trying to be difficult, they will remember you always pray for them. Thank you, ma'am. And the word you have spoken. Very important. Talking and praying works. Not even raising your voice. Yes, ma'am. It's very important. Mommy Susanna Laga. Yay! Thank you, ma'am. And I quit to kí ṣe àfojú. Thank you, mommy, for joining us. We are talking about the importance of children in the marriage and how they can break or make the marriage. What the presence of children is supposed to do is to make marriage, more blossom. But sometimes if you are not careful, it could be a problem. We are talking about gentle parenting and harsh parenting. What can we do to make sure that we are friends with our children? Funky Madam, thank you for joining us. Yemi too, she says, some children are very difficult to deal with, but with prayer and showing them love will make it a change. Thank you, ma. I want to call our attention to the fact that everything that I saw you, easy when it's see ọmọ ẹ̀ lera. Àwọn ọmọ mi lera naturally. It's not about what you did or what you did not do. Àwọn ọmọ mi lera. I know parents that are quite good with the children, but the children, they still turn out to be very, very, very challenging. I will not use the word difficult, but training some children can be more challenging than the other. Even going, àwọn tá a bí tó jẹ́ pé àárí ìta fi gentle parenting. Like I said, my daughter, she hardly receive ìgbà hardly. I even raising my voice with Harley, but my son, hi, so children are totally different. So we need to understand this and do not, because of that, now show more love towards one child and towards another. That's another thing that we need to talk about. Balancing it, let's balance it. When it comes to children, some parents will now be using one as always example to spite the other one. Let's be careful. That's why today we have some siblings rivalry that is so toxic, very toxic, because of the way the parents have made the other child believe that she is probably inferior to the other ones or superior to the other ones. Let's be careful. In fact, I'm going to repeat that again. Let us be careful in the way we compare 2 children or 3 children. Remember, when we have more than one child, let's be careful. Some children are quite challenging in raising. Some are very gentle, some are easy. Like some make parenting so easy, some make it look like shame one more shame. But whatever the case may be, let us use one love to raise these children. Never ever try to compare two or three of them. Don't say, better jewel ni gbogbo ọ̀nà. Your àbúrò ẹnìyẹn, it don't feel better jewel. Some people are making that mistake. You are planting something in their mind, though. You are planting something in their mind. In fact, sometimes even unconsciously, you tend to give one child more attention than the other. Now, let me start an example. I always use myself as an example. My boy has special need and my daughter does not. So because of that, we have a lot of professionals, a lot of professionals coming to our house, always looking for him. And my daughter one day was like, how come everybody's always looking for so and not me? I had to sit her down and explain things to her. Only God knows how long that has been going in her head. But full attention. I had to explain to her when she was still very young. And that thing is so easy that we don't even know. And then again, most of the time, boys are they are closer to their mothers than girls, and girls know the same way. And when man closer to Baba, most of the time, ìgbà míì a máa ń ṣe àwọn kìíní tá dẹ̀ nímọ̀ tá máa fọmọ ọkọ kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ without us knowing. We have to watch out for it. I have friends that are my age. I have friends that are older than me. Tó jẹ́ wípé díẹ̀ ní àárín àwọn àti àwọn siblings wọn ò gún nítorí ọwọ́ tí ìyá wọn fi mú wọn. One of my friends is saying it today pé òun máa ṣe question pé ṣé ìyá àwọn yìí ló bí òun ṣá, because this ìyá is always busy using her, so she said, to ọ̀nà fún kẹ́ àwọn yòókù tó dẹ̀ ṣe máa affect wọn dọ̀la. Kọ́lọ́n kó jọ kó ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Mama Adele say that's why prayer is key. It's very, very important. Mommy Susan Olugun says Mama Susan Alaga says that pray for God's vision, dialogue, correct with love. They would, it's very important. We need to dialogue. That dialogue thing is very important. When we were growing up, if my dad should call me, I know I don't enter trouble with that too. We start shaking, Normally, it shouldn't be like that. Call your children, befriend them, go out with them, talk to them. Dialogue is very, very important. Sometimes you need to know you need to let them, so you need to know what's going on in their mind. And if you don't encourage dialogue, that's not going to happen. I'm going to close this before I go to Abalakine Kinshe. By citing an example of one of my friends back in the days. If Meettheroyals is still here, I'm not going to mention him. She'll probably remember this friend of ours that we're talking about. And when she was young, if not that she was a split replica of her mom, split image of her mom, I would have doubted it. I don't know. And she's the first child. She looked exactly like her mom. The mom was so mean to her. This woman was always using her as a house help to train all the younger ones. In fact, so that affected her so much. It affected her so much. In fact, there was one or two that time that because breathe, share anything. This thing can cause a lot of trouble. It can cause a lot of trauma that child will live with it for the rest of their lives. It can cause trouble whether later in life, it can cause trouble now. Also, please don't let us forget the other part. When you are too lenient, I know some family that they are so lenient with their children, they don't correct them. Correct one. Tell them about to want to bend in your. Don't let us forget that part. Remember that we have to strike a balance. Don't be too harsh. Befriend them, talk to them. Like everybody has been saying, Mommy Susan says, let's treat them with respect. Very important. Let's train and lead by example. Yes, very, very important. Don't say one thing to them and you are doing the opposite. Very important. Lead by example. Mommy Yemi said, raising children is like building a foundation. Very, very important. Now, let us talk about this other part of being too lenient. I know a family when I was growing up. Kò sẹ́ni tó lè bá wọn bọ́ wọn wí. Wọn ò ní bá wọn wí. Àwọn èèyàn tó ń gbé lọ́dọ̀ wọn wọ́n máa ń lò as house help láti raise àwọn ọmọ títí wọn. This woman is always so good, so quick to talk about what other children are doing bad, but our own children were worse. They told you around they dash off for they dash anything. We need to balance it. In as much as we don't want to be too harsh on our children, we also don't want to be too lenient. I'm glad I didn't forget this part of this conversation. Please, 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 please. Being firm with children does not mean you hate them. And we are not saying we should be harsh. We're not saying we should be difficult. We're not saying we should make life miserable for them. We're not saying we should traumatize them because we are disciplining them. But at the same time, please let's bear in mind, a lot of people are ruining their children's life by not correcting them. I have some people that from the firstborn to the lastborn who sick of. Why? Because they are busy using other people's children to raise their own children. They are so they get away with anything. That's alone, that as well is something that we need to make sure that it doesn't happen. Any correct this family I'm talking about, I think they're about 8 or 9. I can't mention him. All of them to graduate because their parents were not raising them right. They were not talking to them. They were not correcting them. Let's pay attention to that as well. Meettheroyals Fabricate research has actually shown that giving children boundaries making them more secure. Thank you. Let there be boundaries, man. You know, you're rather man wọ́n ní èèyàn lè kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kó di méjì náà. Ṣé èèyàn máa ń kẹ́ ọmọ kan kó di méjì ni? Kò possible now. Ẹlòmíì adé kẹ́ ọmọ títí ayé ọmọ yẹn adé bàjẹ́. There was a popular story in the 80s, I think it happened. Láyé ìgbà tó ṣe máa ń ṣe firing squad ní Nàìjíríà. Tó yẹ pé sí èèyàn bá tó bá sentence one to death, they bring them on the, I'm sure some of us that have been around for that long will understand what I'm saying. They used to give them like firing squad. And on this occasion, one of the armed robbers that were about to be executed, firing squad, one of them asked that for a last wish, that if they can please grant him this last wish. And they said, what's the last wish? He said, can I say something? Can I whisper something to my mom's ear? I went, okay. When the mother moved closer to him, you know what he did? Why did you do that? When I was growing up, my mother never corrected me. Except, God bless you, my executed. My mother never ever corrected me. My mother was always okay with whatever I was doing. He said when he started stealing, petty stealing, my mother used to be the one to help me hide those things. My mother was the one that helped me get away with a lot of all those things. When people that were around me were even trying to correct me, my mother would put up a fight with them. So he got angry that if my mother had raised me well, I would not have ended up in this place where I was firing squad. Lóòótọ́ ó dá ká fi gentle parenting come, but aláti balance it. Let me read comment. Mommy Susan Alaga says, weak parenting is dangerous. It destroys the children's future. May God help us. Amima. It's like having friends that you cannot rely on. When you have boundaries with friends, you are more respected. Same for kids. Thank you, ma'am. That's coming from Lola's Fabrics. She also said that we have to raise them to be good husbands and wives and friends to people they will interact with in the future. Thank you. So important. One of the major reasons why we're having trouble in the society today is start from home. You cannot be good from your home and be bad in the society. The issues we are dealing with in society today about bad parenting is mostly because of bad parenting. I know that there's a few instances where but when I'm about turn lyric or senior mamon, I'm a mon now, you know, colon ko joko shano for a ko fun wa she ko fun wa lori ofe ati to amo wa nibi to ati bi to ye. Cannot contribute to the problem of the society, and the children that are not properly raised will be a problem to the society. Yes, he talked to his mom and he beat his parents. Parenting is a big job. That's coming from Ironia. Mommy Oluyemi says yes, you are right, and the Mommy Adedegun said how sad. Orita kọ́kọ́ gbọ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Ó ní pé ọmọ lèrè ayé, ọmọ lèrè ìgbéyàwó, kó rí Elédùà kó fi ọmọ dá gbogbo wa lọ́lá. Ẹni tó ti bí kó má yọ̀kú, àwọn àgàn kan tọwọ́ àlàbòsùn. What would your parents be to your marriage? Will it be a curse or a blessing? That's what we've been talking about since the beginning of this show. It's been a very fantastic evening, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Osophagus tuntun ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ o. Ó faná fún yín náà ni o. Kí la fẹ́ ṣe sí ṣáṣemọ́ lè ṣabala kí ni kí n ṣe báyìí? Abala kí ni kí n ṣe for the next, now you're talking pé àwọn like kí wọ́n máa ṣe abala kí ni kí n ṣe for the next 5 minutes. Let's quickly do abala kí ni kí n ṣe 5 minutes pé la máa fi ṣe torí àsìkò ti lọ. Wọ́n ó faná fún yín náà ni o. Kọ́lọ́ ń gbà wá lọ́wọ́ ó faná fún o. Ofanofun has started, yo. Lord have mercy on us, yo. Ofanofun does not allow us to enjoy our show. So God
Hey, babe, what are you doing home?
I got something for you.
It's all you. Wait, what is in here? What's in here? It's light, so it gotta be my keys. You got me that car?
I got something better than that.
Babe, you got me that car?
I got something better than that.
I'm not sure if you can hear this.
Yep. I know you surprised, right? You surprised, right? No. Take it out. Take it out. Take it out. Take it out. Show it. Show it.
Why would you?
Why would you?
I'm not sure if you can hear it.
Bro, this whole time, really? This is what you doing? I literally come home, I'm sweeping up, trying to clean up the spot, and boom. Look at that. Huh?
Who goes through the trash?
Queen,
Okay, let me explain it because of time. That's a man that found out that they've been trusting God for the fruit of the womb as a family, as a couple for years. And they both going to the doctors, they're both trying so many things. Only to find out that the wife has been protecting herself from getting pregnant. So the man suddenly found out that all these years that they've been waiting on God, this woman has actually been preventing herself from getting pregnant. So the man found out the drug that she's been using to make sure that she doesn't get pregnant. And now the man now brought all the drugs from where she was hiding them and presented it to her as a gift. When she opened it, she was shocked. Now, what would you have this man do? The man was very furious. And instead of this woman to be sorry, she was saying, why would you go and be searching my personal stuff? Why are you going? Ẹ jẹ́ ká sáré sọ láàrin ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ta sásìkò tá a wà yìí. Kí ni ẹ fẹ́ kí ọkùnrin bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ṣe? Àti làágùn, àti gbàdúrà, àti lọlé pastor, àti lọlé everywhere, àti lọ sí hospital, just because we want to get pregnant as a family. Now, the man suddenly realized that all these years, ìṣe ìyàwó òun ń lo oògùn tí kò jẹ́ kó lóyún, ó rí àwọn oògùn tó ń lò níbi tó kó pamọ́ sí. Meanwhile, wọ́n jọ ń sunkún lójoojúmọ́, wọ́n jọ ń wọ́mọ, wọ́n jọ ń bẹ Ọlọ́run, wọ́n sì jọ ń lọ sọ́dọ̀ doctor sọ pé kò sí kankan tó rán pẹ̀lẹ́yìn méjèèjì. Àṣé ìṣe lóbìnrin yìí ń lóògùn tí kò fi jẹ́ kó lóyún. Please, what will you have this man do? You know, Ìyàwó bàbá said wahala. I mean, Ìyàwó bàbá said OMG. Fade baby said wahala. Yeah, Baba said that's a bad wife. Obviously, that's a bad wife. She's a very bad woman. I don't know what her plans are. I don't know what she had in mind. I don't know why she would do something like that. The woman doesn't love him, period. Okay, the woman doesn't love him. Please remember that the title of this episode is Abala Kini Kinse. What would you advise that man to do? Oh, fine, it's very bad. She's a bad wife. Would you say the man should forgive her and keep going with that marriage? Do you think the man should? I don't know. I'm just wondering, if you find out that happened to someone you know, how would you advise them, or they come to you for advice? Remember that the reason we are having this episode is so that if somebody pick up this video and they find out, they see this episode or this particular segment called "What Would You Have Me Do?" Abala Kini Kinse. What would you do? What would you advise that person? Apart from, okay, she's a bad wife, she doesn't love him, and blah blah blah. Mama Adele said marriage is over. Okay, so as far as Mama Adele is concerned, she believes that marriage is over. The man should let her go. The marriage is over. I think I probably would be in support of that to an extent. Yemi Stitch says that man should move on with his life. Thank you, ma'am. The woman is a wicked soul. Thank you so much. Yahoo Baba says there's no love in the marriage. He should move on with his life. Thank you, ma'am. They don't want the same thing. It's like the woman is not ready to have a baby. The woman is not ready to have a baby. It's better not to waste the man's time. Thank you. That's coming from Meluyemi. And then Iroyayo says there's no more to it from the lady's side. The husband should still sit her down and discuss it. It is more than eyes can meet. Okay. Sometimes the man should leave and marry someone else. Okay, leave her and marry somebody else. Lola's Fabric says they need to have a serious conversation. I move that opinion as well. Why doesn't she want kids? Why was she hiding it from him? Is the marriage still viable? Unlikely. Thank you, ma'am. That's coming from Lola's Fabrics. Yahoo Baba said, in as much as I don't support divorce, it should get elders involved and decide. I am actually of the opinion that there should be a serious conversation, involve other people, probably involve professionals, or bigger people that you trust that can guide and lead them, there is definitely more to it than the eyes can see. It doesn't make any sense, you understand? I think I watched a movie like that not too long ago, which was, I think it was Latif Adedimeji and somebody else. It was even the man that doesn't want child this time around. It was the man that doesn't want a child. The woman was doing everything, but the man doesn't want a child. So the man was secretly drugging the woman with a medication that would not let her get pregnant. But at the end of the day, you know what happened? Both of them were at fault. The woman was AS and the man was AS. When they met each other, the first question that man asked was, what's your blood type? And the lady said AS. And the man said he was AA, just because he so much loved the woman and wanted them to be together, knowing that he is AS. So immediately the woman said, I'm AS, she also said, I'm AA, in order to get that woman. So because of that, she doesn't want the woman to get pregnant. And like that kind of thing. When the woman find out that this man wants to stop me from getting married, she went and get pregnant, and that thing caused trouble. And obviously she had a SS child. Eventually it became yama. Any mind that does not have full 100% honesty in it will always be an issue. Mama Odele says she should have been open about it. So much distrust. Well, honestly, your back got nínú ẹ̀gà. What the man spoke with wọ́n ní kò sóhun tuntun lábẹ́ ọ̀run. Ó ti wà ní àtètèkọ́ṣe. Ó ń bẹ nísinsìnyí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni yóò sì máa rí ní ìgbà gbogbo. Ayé àìnípẹ̀kun, àmín. All these things have been around for so long. Unfortunately, it's getting worse. In fact, some of them, the reason we are hearing them now is because of social media. Only God knows what our parents have had to endure. Mo gbà ní àdúrà wípé ilé wa máa rójú, ọ̀nà wa máa ráyè o. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe máa sọ fún wa lórí ètò yìí ní ọ̀sẹ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí pé ó máa ń wù ní ká jẹran pẹ́lẹ́nu. Àmọ́ òun faná fún kì í gbà fún wa tó bẹ́ẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Adúpẹ́ fún mi tá fẹ́ dẹ̀ fi àdàgbà ètò yìí sùn rọ̀ sílé ni. Nítorí Yorùbá náà ni wọ́n lọ tí wọ́n bọ̀ tí wọ́n pòwe wípé kì í dùn kó pọ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni kì í pọ̀ kó dùn. Ṣókí báyìí ní ọbẹ̀ oge. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́gbọ́ ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá mi dá sétò lénìí. Pàápàá jùlọ àwọn tí wọ́n fi ohùn sílẹ̀. Without you, there is no ètò ìgbéyàwó. I appreciate you for your support week in, week out. Mo wọ́n fàṣìkò sọ fún wa wípé èmi Olúwabùnmi aya Òṣìbẹ̀rù. Lílọ ni mo tuntun ti ń lọ yìí. Mo gbà ní àdúrà pé ogun ó lọ kò dé kò mà ní bá mi. Ogun ó dé kò bá wọn kò ní jẹ́ tí lọ́la Ọlọ́run. Ayọ̀, ìdùnnú àti àlàáfíà tí mo fẹ́ fi yín sílẹ̀ ní òun náà ni máa padà wá bá yín lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ lágbára lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Wọ́n fàsìkò yìí sọ fún wa wípé láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Mo ní láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Ẹ̀yin ò ní forígún, èmi ò ní fẹsẹ̀ kọ o. Mọ́tò yòówù ká lè wọ̀ kò ní forí sọ̀gì o. Láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé. Láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week by the special grace of God. God bless you. Thank you, everybody.
Traditional wedding.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, everybody.
Let's talk traditional wedding. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó kọ́ni lọ́gbọ́n. Let's talk traditional wedding.
Ṣé ti gbọ́? Ètò Let's Talk traditional wedding ló lọ lọ́wọ́. Ó yá dídẹ̀.
Kí lorúkọ ètò náà? Let's talk traditional wedding. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó kọ́ni lọ́gbọ́n. Let's talk traditional wedding. Every Tuesday on Instagram, every Tuesday on Facebook, 6 p.m. UK time, every Tuesday on Facebook. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó fúnni lóye. Let's talk traditional weddings. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó fúnni lóye.
Let's talk traditional wedding. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week by the special grace of God. God bless you.